Mr. JJ's Math Journey Greatest Common Factor using factor pairs. GCF, or greatest common factor, find the greatest common factor of 8 and 12 using factor pairs. So 8 and 12, and a factor pair is two numbers that multiply together to give you this number. So 8 can be made by 1 times 8. It can be made by 2 times 4. It can be made, no, 3 times a whole number doesn't work. 4 times 2 works, but it's the same as 2 times 4. 5, there's no whole number we can multiply 5 by to make 8. Also 6 doesn't work with a whole number. 7 doesn't work. And 8 times 1, that's the same as 1 times 8. So here are all the factor pairs of 8. And now we do the same for 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and 4 times 3, but that's the same as 3 times 4. We try 5, no. 6 times 2 works, but that's the same as 2 times 6. 7 doesn't work. 8 doesn't work. 9 doesn't work. 10 does not work. And 11, 12 times 1 works, but that's the same as 1 times 12. So here are all the factor pairs. And now we want to look at which ones are common. Which are the factors of 8 that are also factors of 12? So 1 is a factor of both, and 1 is a factor of everything. 2, that one's in both of them. 3 is not, but 4, that one's in. And there's no other number that's bigger. 4 is the biggest that is in both, so it's the greatest common factor. Now let's try greatest common factor of 18 and 24. So 1 times 8, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, 4 doesn't work with a whole number, 5 doesn't work with a whole number, and 6 does, but we already have 6. 6 times 3 is the same as 3 times 6. So actually, this is when you know you've found all of the factor pairs. When you get to repeating factor pairs in reverse, you're done. So now let's try 24. Is 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6, 5 times something doesn't work, but 6 times 4 works, but we already had that with 4 times 6. So these are all the factor pairs of 24. And now let's find the common ones. 1, 2 is in both, 3, 4 isn't, 6, and it looks like 6 is the biggest one. So 6 is the greatest common factor. Let's try 14 and 35. 14 and 35. So here are the factor pairs. We try 1 and 2. 3 doesn't work. 4 doesn't work. 5, 6, 7 times 2 works, but that's the same as 2 times 7, so we know we found them all. And 1 times 35, 2 doesn't work, 3 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work, 5 times 7 works, 6 doesn't work, but 7 times 5 works, and we already had that with 5 times 7, so we know we found them all. 1 is in both of them, 7 is in both of them, and 7 is the biggest one that's in both, so it's the greatest common factor. Now what happens if you're finding the greatest common factor of 3 different numbers, 12, 18, and 30? We do it exactly the same way. We list out the factor pairs of 12. We list out the factor pairs of 18. And now we know we found all of the factor pairs of 18. And now factor pairs of 30. 5 times 6 works. 6 times 5 is the same, so we know we're done. And now which ones are common to all three? 1 is, 2 is, and 3 is, and it looks like 6 is as well, and it looks like there's nothing bigger than 6, so 6 is the greatest common factor. Okay, time for you to practice. Try to find the greatest common factor of each of these problems. Pause the video, and I'll let you know the answer. Okay, I hope you've tried. 6 and 9 is 3, 16 and 24 is 8, 20 and 45 is 5, and 48 and 64 is 16. I hope you had success. Let's try sum of 3. Okay, find the greatest common factor of the 3 numbers. Pause the video and try. Okay, let's look at the answers. 6, 4, 5, and 12. I hope you were successful, and I hope finding the greatest common factor using factor pairs makes sense. This has been Mr. JJ's Math Journey, greatest common factor with factor pairs. Thank you.